The name of this poem is Spontaneity. I had a habit of being spontaneous, of running when I should have walked, of walking when I should have run, doing things when I chose to. I had a habit of never deciding what I would do until I did it, of walking when I chose to and running when I shouldn't have, and running when I wanted to, and walking when I hated to. I had a habit of never making sense when I should have made sense. I had a habit of spontaneity. I had a habit of doing things as I pleased and as I wanted and as I thought to. I had a habit of doing things when I should not ought to. I had a habit of messing up the simplest things and the hardest things and the easiest things. I had a habit of rhyming the oddest things. I had a habit of spontaneity, of random bursts of spontaneous. I had a habit of spontaneous. I had a habit that some would describe as horrid or despicable or too much, but I had a habit of spontaneity. And some habits aren't bad, some habits aren't good, but I had a habit of spontaneity. I had this habit that would always make me run after the wrongest things or the rightest things or maybe the weirdest things. And I had a habit that makes me think of the oddest things. I keep saying had, but I never stopped having it. I had a habit of spontaneity. So that was a spontaneous poem, obviously. I didn't plan that or anything. I made that up right now, which is bad in some cases, good in others. But basically, I just want to show you guys what I think about when I write a poem and how I go through the process of writing a poem. I pause, obviously, as you just saw, and then sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't pause. Sometimes I just keep going and going and going. When you write a poem, well, for me, when you write a poem, it's not about getting things right or getting things wrong. It's about getting down the feelings. And when I was thinking about that poem right now, I didn't write it down or anything. When I was thinking about what I wanted, what the words I wanted, what I wanted to convey, I wanted to convey the fact that the character had a habit of spontaneity. And so what I did, I repeated the word spontaneity. I repeated the word spontaneous so that the reader understood that he thinks he has a habit of spontaneity. And I even caught him the fact that he contradicted himself. Sometimes you'll do that. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll call on the fact that I contradict myself within the poem. That people can see contradiction, or rather the fact that I'm aware of what I wrote. Obviously I'm aware of what I wrote it. But when I write a poem, I write them spontaneously. And I write them as they come to mind or when I come across them in time. I mean, when I write a poem, I choose to write them as I think them. I write a poem like spontaneity when I think of spontaneity, or I write a poem like love when I think of love. I write a poem about hate when I think of hate. I write a poem when it comes to mind, and when I write a poem, it just seems to rhyme to perfect time. That makes no sense, but it makes sense if you think about it. But no, it won't change, so let's think about it. No, let's clink about it. No, change doesn't always clink, though. Maybe it clinks, but then that's metal, and maybe machine, but machine doesn't change, or maybe it does. Maybe it's improved upon, and maybe it had that slight buzz that needs to be fixed. I don't know, but spontaneity. I never said the poem ended. I never told you the poem ended, and so I broke into poem again. When you write a poem, you'll never know when the poem ends. You'll never know what it's like to fully end the poem, and that's the idea behind the poem that I'm writing now, the never-ending poem. The idea of the never-ending poem is that it's a poem that never ends, obviously, because the world never ends, life never ends, life never truly ends, and I want a poem that represents that never-ending idea of life, never-ending idea of love and happiness. And so I'm going to write a poem called The Never Ending Poem. That's what I'm driven to write currently, so I'm going to write that. The Never Ending Poem, the current idea I have is, well, something I want to turn out really well, and I don't know if it will or not. We'll find that out when I write it. But as I was saying, spontaneity. The idea of spontaneity when I write a poem. When I write a poem, I have this habit of just doing. Whenever I write a poem, I just do, which is conveyed in the idea of spontaneity. When I write a poem, I just get down to it. Well, that's poorly phrased, but when I write a poem, I just get the book in my book in my hand, and I just start writing and writing and writing. I go through the thoughts in my head, the ideas in my head, and I just start going. I don't even know if you guys will find interest in a video like this, but when I write a poem, I just go, and then when it's over, I just stop. I wrote this poem called give me a sec, I have to find it. I can't believe I forgot this. This is one of my favorite poems of mine, just because of the rhyme of it. Because I created in the idea of rap, beats and odds. And when I wrote beats and odds, I had no idea how it was going to turn out or how it went. I just started going. And when I stopped, the poem just fit together perfectly. So I talked about beats and odds. And when you think beats and odds, you might think beats as in vegetables or beats as in a drum beat or a beat, right? And I connected both of those ideas within the poem to the point that the first line is trap beats, reference rap and trapping, obviously. And then the last line is brain starts, ate my vegetables and overcome odds. Vegetables, a beat is a vegetable. But the thing is, within the poem, I'm actually going to read it now because, well, I'll start talking about it. I might as well read it. Within the poem, I reference the different kinds of vegetables and different kinds of beats and different kinds of odds that the character wants to overcome. So, let's read it. Trap beats. It never starts with trap beats. It always drops to heartbeats. To beats so red, the vegetables going beep, beep, beep. Without brain flow, I don't know about squads or being odds. I can't know about moms or open arms, cause I'm stepping, repping a squad like a reverend. I preach of peaches and pears and derrieres. I preach of spilt tea and spoiled milk, of cruel words from the ilk. The masses, a massive punch to the gut. I strut, hand in hand, arm in arm, stressing chest, heart, and breast. I believe when time stops, I'll finally rest. I believe when time starts, it's a game of chess. I'm winning. Against this world of stress, I'm driven. Against mighty winds past the tempest. Hand on chest, heart beating. I take a breath and rest. Brain starts. I eat my vegetables and overcome odds. So, the idea of beats and odds is you have this character, and he just starts talking and talking and talking. And he talks about just the things he's going through and the things he's feeling. He's talking about not knowing about people or overcoming things, but he's also talking about not having things that most people have. He doesn't know about kindness or a mother's love. He doesn't know about these things because he has his own responsibility. He has his own things he has to do. He has to rep his squad, like he says, and he has to preach in his own way. He preaches of the things that he enjoys, peaches and pears and derrieres. Obviously, that makes sense if you think about it. I'm not going to explain that one. But he also preaches spilt tea and spoiled milk. Cruel words from the ilk. When you spill tea, what do? You spread rumors. Cruel words from the ilk. Spilt tea. You spill your tea. You spread cruel words and cruel rumors. Spoiled milk. Spoiled word, basically. Spoiled milk is bad, rancid, right? Spilt tea, spoiled milk. They're synonymous. Well, he makes them synonymous within the poem. He considers them the same thing. Spoiled milk is bad, disgusting. You don't want it. It's just like you don't want spilt tea. And then he continues. A massive punch to the gut. Rhyming with the masses. Because he rhymed the ilk to the masses. Well, he paired the ilk to the masses. The ilk has in the people, the group. And then the masses has in the masses. The people in front of you. The people. A massive group of people, obviously. A massive punch to the gut. A rumor can be a massive punch to the gut. The masses, a massive punch to the gut. Stress and chest. He's stressed out. Heart and breast. The heart beats faster because he's stressed. And then when time stops, I'll finally rest. It's the idea of continuing to work, continuing to work, continuing to work. He keeps working. He keeps trying. He keeps trying. And then when time stops, he'll rest. But time's not ever gonna stop, so he's never gonna rest. And then he believes when time starts, he'll win the game of chess. And when time starts, that's when he's working. That's when he's gonna try to win. That's when he's striving. And he doesn't want to lose to the world of stress, so he's gonna keep working. And he's driven against mighty wind to pass the tempest. Past the mighty wind, obviously. Mighty wind and tempest are basically the same thing. I don't know. I wrote it like that, but he's driven against basically things that would try to push him back, things that would try to stop him. And hand on chest, heart beating. He's making sure his heart's beating, and he still has his hand on his chest. So what that means, like, I don't know, but I just like the way it's written. I just like the way the poem itself is written. I don't know why I went on a tangent on this poem, but I just like the way it's written. I just like the way it is. And the final line, brain starts. I eat my vegetables and overcome odds. I really love that line because it references the beginning with vegetables so to beets to vegetables to beets so red they vegetables going beep beep beep. You got it. That references like what kind of a crude word, but vegetables like hospital vegetables, like people that was with stopped brain flow, like people that can be considered living vegetables where their body works and everything, but they can't do anything for themselves. They can't do anything because they're stuck the way they are. But at the end, brain starts, and my vegetables and overcome odds. I, that line is just so perfect to me because brain starts. That means he's thinking again. He's free again. I eat my vegetables. He overcomes. He overcomes the idea that he would stay stuck the way he is forever, stuck just bad forever, and he overcomes odds. It shouldn't be possible for him to be walking and talking and do all the things he's doing, but he's doing it. Time stops. I finally rest. Going back to that line, time stopped for him, so he's resting. Time starts. He's playing a game of chess because he couldn't do that while he was resting. But I just really love the poem. When I wrote this poem, there was like an idea. Like I said, I write poems spontaneously. But when I wrote this poem, I was just sitting down and I was just thinking and thinking and thinking, and I for like the past couple of days before it, I was just rhyming to myself, just rhyming and rhyming and rhyming, and finally I was like, you know what, I'll just write this. But anyway, back to the main topic. When I write a poem, I like to write them spontaneously, and when I write a poem, I write them with an idea of spontaneity, an idea of uniqueness, an idea of themselves. That makes no sense. It makes sense because it changes. No, it doesn't. It won't change. As I'm saying, it ranges. I mean, it varies. As I write a poem, I think of fairies or maybe dragons. No, I think of fantasy. No, I think of dragging myself out of depression. No, I don't. That makes no sense. Maybe I think of reverence. No, because I don't think about the church and the masses. No, I think of masses. I mean, planetary bodies and such. No, I don't. I think of what? When I write a poem, I think of love. No, I think of living. No, when I write a poem, I think of what? I think of the living. Of the living. I don't know. So, when I write a poem, the ideas vary. The things change. Well, sometimes they just come to me. And sometimes they take forever to perfect. The never-ending poem I wrote down like a while ago. I've been thinking about writing it for like a while now. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe a little less than that. But I have, as I said, I've been doing this 100 night thing. And well, I started it, and I started working on it. And the never-ending poem is the 43rd night. And for some reason, every time I go to write it, every time I have the perfect time, every time I have time to write, I'm like, no, now's not the right time. I have to make sure it's perfect. And well, the thing is, I don't know the difference between the perfect time and the wrong time. I just know the perfect time is the perfect time. Anyway, enough of a tangent, enough of me just sitting here and talking with you guys. This is obviously a long form thing, so it's probably going up on Friday. I haven't recorded a short one in a while, so I'll start recording some short ones and put up throughout the rest of the week. Oh yeah, guys, never stop exploring. Then again, some have never started. Anyway, never stop exploring. That was Spontaneity. That was Beats and Odds. This was Aram Hayes. Goodbye.